Hey there, orchestra. In today's video, we're going to talk about the difference between a major scale and a minor scale. So let's first see what the difference is in the sound of the scales. So I'm going to start by playing you a D major scale. We're really familiar with this scale. It has F sharp and C sharp in it. It's the first scale that we learned how to play. Now I'm going to play you a D scale again. It's still going to start on open D, and it's going to have the highest note be high D, and it's going to use all the notes in order just like the D major scale, but it's going to have a slightly different sound. The reason it sounds different is a few of the notes have been changed. They're altered just a little bit. So again, here's D major and D minor. Now, in our culture of music, we tend to associate major sounds with happy music and minor sounds with maybe more sad or mysterious sounding music. And that all comes from the notes that are in the scale and where the half steps and whole steps are. So let's take a look at the notes for the D major scale and see what gets changed. So I'm going to write that scale out right here. We have D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C sharp, and D. And so that we can apply this to other scales, I'm just going to put numbers underneath each of the notes real quickly. Okay, so that's our D major scale. And in this case, we have this half step right here between our third and fourth note, and we'd have a half step between our seventh and eighth note. But in a minor scale, we're going to take 3 of the notes and turn them half a step lower, and that's going to change where the half steps and whole steps go. So let me write out the D minor scale below. So again, this one is major, and we're going to do minor right underneath it. So our first note stays the same, so does our second note, but our third note goes half a step lower. So instead of F sharp, it becomes F natural. And our fourth note is the same, fifth note's the same, sixth note half a step lower. So instead of B, we're going to have B flat. And also our seventh note half a step lower. So our C sharp becomes C natural. Now if we try to find our half steps in the scale, we have a half step between our second and third note now. And we have a half step between our fifth and sixth note. So that's really what makes the difference in the sound. Again, D major with F sharp and C sharp, and D minor with all naturals except one flat. All right, so that's how that works. If you want to take a major scale and turn it into minor, it's always the same notes that you're going to use. So you're going to take that third note right here and you're going to lower it down. You're going to take your sixth note and your seventh note and lower them down. So we just take these 3 notes and change them. So let's apply that to maybe a different scale. So let me really quickly erase all of this, and we're going to take our G major scale. And remember, we're only going to change 3 notes of that scale. So the notes that we're going to change are our third, sixth, and seventh. The G major scale is all natural except for F sharp. So our notes are G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. So let's see if we can take our B and lower it down, our E, and our F. So let's write our minor scale down here. G stays the same, A stays the same, half a step lower than B is B flat, then C stays the same, so does D. Half a step lower than E is E flat, and half a step lower than F sharp is F natural, and our G stays the same. So those would be the notes in the G minor scale. So again, remember, major and minor have different sounds. We change 3 notes when we go from major to minor. We make those notes lower, and it's always the third, sixth, and seventh notes in the scale that we change. All right, that's all about the difference between major and minor scales.